Back in the 1970s, Mego was the undisputed king of the 8-inch scale action figure with cloth goods costumes. Mego was able to acquire a variety of popular licenses for their 8-inch figure lines, including Marvel and DC superheroes, Planet of the Apes, and Star Trek. But Mego was not without its competitors, and one of those competitors was Azrak-Hamway International, otherwise known as AHI. In 1974, during the monster craze of the 1970s, AHI was able to acquire the coveted Universal Monsters license. As a result, they created the official world's famous Super Monsters line, a line that swiped liberally from Mego's aesthetic, from the construction of the figures to the design of the card backs. Mego would respond with their Mad Monsters line, which featured unlicensed versions of the famous monster archetypes. For their part, AHI produced 4 different figures for the official world-famous Monsters line: Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, the Mummy, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. AHI also produced an unofficial version of Dracula that was not connected to Universal Studios due to an ongoing legal battle between Universal and Bela Lugosi at the time. AHI produced 2 distinctly different versions of the creature from the Black Lagoon for their Super Monsters line. One creature was a thin-waisted version with bendable arms, and another was a thicker waist version which was more hollow in its construction. Over the years, collectors have come to refer to the thin-waisted version as the female creature and the thick-waisted version as the male creature, but there's no indication that AHI meant to create different genders for the creature. It was just a change in construction. AHI only produced the creature figure from 1974 to 1976, so that makes it the rarest of the set for collectors to track down. Which brings us to these figures from Super 7. Super 7 has done a lot of different things with their 3 3/4 inch scale 5 POA reaction line, and one of the things they've done was to recreate both versions of the AHI Super Monsters creature from the Black Lagoon in that scale. This creature that I have on the card is the reproduction of the thin waist, or the so-called female creature, and this will be remaining on the card, so we'll just look at it like this. The card artwork and logos are a very nice reproduction of the old AHI. I'm not sure if this is new artwork or if they just took an old package and scanned the art from it, because this is pretty faithful. If it's a reproduction, the artist did an excellent job. So we can see the pictures of the other 4 creatures in the original AHI official Universal Monsters line. So we have Frankenstein, Wolfman, the Mummy, and the creature. As I said, the Dracula they produced was an unofficial version, so it's not included on the artwork with the other figures. And on the back, again, this is a nice reproduction of the original artwork you would have seen on the Azrak-Hamway version, which was actually lifted from the old Aurora model kit. So AHI lifted the designs of the figures and the card backs from Mego. They lifted some of the artwork from Aurora. So not a whole lot of originality, but it was the early 70s and they were cranking out product as cheaply as possible. Here is the boxed version of the creature, and this is the wider waist, the so-called male creature. Again, a reproduction of the logo on the front. And the artwork that's on the card back is now on the sides of the box. And I don't think the original AHI monsters came in boxes. They were all carded. So this is more of a throwback to something you'd see from Mego, but I don't think AHI ever did that. In the box, the creature sits nicely in this molded blister with that distinctive pink background. As we know, Super 7 is not reinventing the wheel with the reaction line. This is your basic 5 POA figure reminiscent of Fisher-Price Adventure People or Kenner Star Wars. So you just have the arms, legs, and head. What I like about this figure is it does feel well constructed, and there is some nice paint detail on the figure. You can see really clean paint applications on the face. There's a nice sort of a different green tint and yellow tint all over the figure to simulate what the original AHI toy looked like. And I do like that sculpt. AHI originally used the Aurora Creature model kit to create their figure. So you can sort of see that in the sculpt. So for comparison, we have the thin-waisted AHI creature in the middle on the card, with the thick-waist version here, and the more screen-accurate creature from Super 7's reaction line here. This figure is a bit more reminiscent of the old Remco mini monsters. So you can see the thin-waisted creature is a bit more screen-accurate than the thick-waisted creature. When it comes to reaction figures, a phrase I often use is "your mileage may vary." I know a lot of people are put off by the price of the Super 7 reaction figures comparative to what you're getting, and price is a factor in my purchasing decisions as well. I probably would own more Super 7 figures if they were half the price. As it is, I have about 3 dozen. I do think they do an excellent job with the card artwork, and I do think the figures are good quality. But the price does put me off from buying them in larger numbers. And before we go, I'd also like to mention the PlaidStallions.com website, as well as their publication Toy Ventures magazine. Both were great sources of information that I used to research the history of the AHI monsters. A link to Plaid Stallions will be in the description below. Creature from the Black Lagoon was the first monster movie that I saw back in the mid-70s, and it was the creature and my love for that film that caused me to seek out monster matinees and creature features on old UHF stations, and that's what led me into my lifelong love of movie monsters, including Godzilla. So the creature holds a special place in my heart, and I'm very happy that several different toy companies are currently producing quality figures of the creature from the Black Lagoon. I'll probably never own the original Azrak-Hamway creatures. They are very rare and expensive to acquire. But these miniature Super 7 reproductions are a nice substitute, and I'm happy that I have them in my collection. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.